what's up, guys? Once again, it is the Crossover Sports Podcast, episode 38, coming to you live from our respective locations in the greater Philadelphia area. It is your hostess with the mostest, Kylan, rocking out with Amina. Matt shall be in here shortly. Before you CT3 fans, he is about to go on vacation with his family, so he won't be here today. So it's just going to be us three, but we're going to have the takes flowing for you. So, Amina, introduce yourself real quick to the people.
Yeah, my name's Amina, Philly born and raised, Golden State Warriors fan, ready for football season to start. I'm a Raiders fan as well.
All right. All right, y'all. Y'all know how we get this John started. Happy Independence Day, 4th of July weekend to y'all. But y'all know how we rock out and how we start this. We start this with our crossover hot takes. Um, For those of you that don't know, our crossover hot takes are topics that we tackle that could be in the sports world or not in the sports world, depending on what's going on. This is when we tackle current events. So our first question, Amina, are you ready? So, Amina, the first question is this: are the Republicans really about to change healthcare forever? Take it away.
You said, are the Republicans about to change healthcare forever?
Yes.
It's hard to tell. I mean, they keep saying that was one of the big things that Trump said during his entire campaign, which lasted almost, almost 2 years, I think. He said repeal and replace Obamacare. That was one of the main reasons why people that voted for him went out and voted for him on November 8th. Now fast forward, December. It's been almost 8 months since he was, elected. Nearly a year before we know it. And he still hasn't, lived up to his campaign promises. So it's like, it happens, it happens. It doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, I could see through all the lies during the campaign. That's why I was one of them people that was just cracking up and dying during all the debates, the campaign season. It was all a big joke to me. I'm still laughing about it. I'm laughing at everyone who voted for him. But no, I don't think they're going to change it forever. And if they do try to change it forever, it's going to be so that only people that are wealthy and, for lack of better words, for the people that are sensitive out there, Caucasian. They're gonna make it so that the average person that's working a 9 to 5 or has a small business will never be able to have health care insurance. They're gonna make it so that college students can't have health insurance. People with pre-existing conditions, people with children that have special needs, no one will be able to have health care insurance unless they're rich. That's what the Republicans want. So if they change it forever, it will only be for the worse. It won't be for the better. I mean, so many people I know have lost their health care insurance within the last 10 years that it is ridiculous. I myself lost health care insurance not once, not twice, but 3 times under Barack Obama's administration. I kept having to get health care insurance like through new companies. Like I never saw this stuff under Clinton or Bush when I was younger. But since Obama with this Obamacare, it messed everything up, and now these Republicans they want to repeal and replace it with something. I don't know what's going to be involved with it, but I don't think it's good because they're all for themselves. So if they change it, it'll be not for the best, it'll be for the worst. People will not be able to afford healthcare insurance with the way the people that are in Washington D.C. now. if they have their way, you will have to make at least 6 figures or more a year to get health care insurance. And they're going to do away with state insurance. That's inevitable. I mean, Medicare, Medicaid, all that's going to go eventually. Like, so enjoy it while you still have it, because it won't last forever. And that's what I have to say about that. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, listen, back to the old way. That's what it is, dog. That's what it was back when we were kids.
Yep.
You had, if you didn't have a job, you didn't have health care. And some people want the good old days back, and, Obama really did try and make it better. I mean, Obamacare really was a compromise because we were supposed to be more, for lack of a better term, more. Some people would call it extreme. I would call it more equal than it actually was. But they had a compromise with the Republicans, and that's why a lot of people are like, well, and the insurance companies, because if you want anything to work in this country, you got to compromise with the insurance companies. So, that's what it is. We got a big insurance lobby and a big pharmaceutical lobby, so everything's always going to be expensive because they bow down to the lobbies. And I like Obamacare. When I got too old and I got kicked off I was kicked off my parents' health care, I was able to get health care. I haven't lost it since. But I'm glad to reconsider now with the way this is going. I mean, as Amina said, this will be a very, very heavy tax cut to the rich. It really affects Republicans, people that vote Republican enough, and I find that hilarious. I don't really find it hilarious, but it's ironically hilarious because all the people that usually vote Republicans, the people in our parents' age group, the boomers, they're going to be the most disproportionately affected by this. Like, they're going to lose their Medicaid and Medicare, which I will never see a day in my life. Neither will Amina, because when all of our parents retire, all that's gone anyway. So, it's going to die regardless. So,
Social Security and all that is going to be gone too.
Well, that's all. Well, all that Medicare, Medicaid, that's all paid to Social Security. Mm-hmm. Once Social Security dries up, that's gone too. Mm-hmm. So,
disability stuff for veterans, all that.
It just shows you the power of people voting against their interests. So many people that I talk to are like, I'm a Republican because they're more conservative. They don't want to spend money. This is what happens when you don't want to spend money. You wind up taking away things people need. And, they can't figure out a way to do what they want, do the massive tax cuts and everything without disproportionately affecting somebody. And it's unfortunate that all those people 65 and up and really elderlies and the poor, really, really poor people. So because most people think the poorest of the poor reside in urban areas. That's not true. The poorest of the poorest of the poor reside in upstate Pennsylvania, Kentucky, all the places that are Republican strongholds where the people just disproportionately vote against their interests and vote Republican all the time, right? And they get nothing. So the Trump administration is showing now. The carrier deal done blew up in his face because now they're firing everybody and just moving it all to Mexico, and they're losing out their jobs to machines and stuff. It's just the reality of the situation, man. Everybody's losing out on their jobs unless they're like the greatest at their job. Everybody's losing out on their jobs because of machines and because of Amazon and different things. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about healthcare. Healthcare is a very complicated thing, man. Like we said, back when we were kids, if your parents didn't work, you were either on CHIP or you didn't have healthcare. That was it. It was either no job, and if you were a kid, CHIP. Now they try to get rid of CHIP. So, you just gonna have so much stuff that's unfortunate. And I'm so glad that, God's been up in this because it was all but sure that they were going to destroy healthcare this week, and the confusion came. But some Republicans that still have spines, the moderates, or as I call them, Republicans with spines, stood up and said, "Nah, I'm not going to do this because I got people in my district that rely on this. I lose an election." I'm so glad that self-preservation came up. Survival took precedent over taking people's health care away. Now, if only people would do that with their constituents and not just think about their own survival. Because don't get it twisted. The reason why a lot of these Republicans didn't take some of y'all's health care away isn't because they all of a sudden grew hearts and they started caring about you. Nah, they looked at the numbers and said, if I take away their health care, I'm going to lose come next November. That's what happened. It ain't all of a sudden that they just grew a heart. Some of them may have had hearts, but it's self-preservation at its finest. It's that I got an unpopular president, a bill that's more unpopular than him, and I've got Mitch McConnell, who's like in the ultimate safe district in Kentucky because for some reason those idiots vote him in every 4 years. But you know, I'm sorry for calling the people that live in those in his area idiots, but y'all put the same man in office. The boy's like 70 something. Y'all keep sending him to office. Like why? And it's just amazing. These people, they just keep doing the same thing. It's the definition of insanity. It's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
You know, healthcare, unfortunately, looks like it might go away. And this is the funny thing is, this is all the people who wanted to take it away. There's still people to this day that believe Obamacare and ACA aren't the same thing. And I'm just like, that ain't the greatest con ever. I wish media people would call it the way it is. This is why, as a media person, I hate people that are all like, oh, it's Obamacare. No, call it what it is. It is not the Obamacare law.
Affordable Care Act.
Affordable Care Act. Not the Obamacare law. There's no Obamacare in the books. If you Google Obamacare, they will tell you, AKA the Affordable Care Act. That's what it is. Obamacare was constructed just for this, so they could be able to destroy something that benefits everybody. You know, like this healthcare. This is those of you Bernie bros that are all like, yo, we need single payer. Yeah, right. You know how long Barack Hussein Obama struggled to get this bill, right? To get this bill that was equal for most of y'all to get y'all health care. And y'all sitting there gonna let them destroy it because they renamed it Obamacare. The actual name of the law is the ACA. You know, that's why they couldn't even come up with a more creative name, so they called it the AHCA. But now it's the Better American Care Act now in the Senate. BACA. They can't even still acronyms right. Like it's BACA. They can't even still acronyms. They gotta add a B or add an H to it to make it seem like they came up with something. Like, come on now, if y'all can't see what they doing, even if you colorblind, if you can't see what they doing, the fact that they're about to destroy something that, you know, it has its faults. Nobody's gonna say Obamacare, the ACA is perfect. You know why it's not perfect? Because they bow down to the insurance companies and to big pharma. But when you have the AARP, hospitals, insurance companies, and pharmaceutical companies all agreeing that this bill is bad, you know you in the wrong. When some Fox News hosts disagree with what you're doing, you know you're in the wrong because Fox News people don't have spies either. But when they say, oh, dog, it's a bad bill, that should tell you something. You have literally the axis of everything, of all the reasons why we can never get good health care. Pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, all agreeing that this is horrible for us. And it's not because, like I said, it's just like these moderate Republicans. It's not because they all of a sudden grew a conscience. It's because they looked at it and said, yo, we're going to lose money. If they get rid of Medicare and Medicaid, we're going to lose money. If they get rid of the senior citizens, and they get rid of the fact that all three of us, healthy young people, don't have a mandate to get health care, they're going to lose money. That's what it is. It's the fact that they're going to lose money. It ain't because they all of a sudden care about us. They care about our money. Go ahead, Matt. We on healthcare.
We ain't gonna have that when we get old. It's not gonna be no health care.
True story. Matt, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hold now. Let me get my life together when I say this.
Hi there.
Hello there. How are you?
Good.
Let's get something real straight. I will agree with Kyla on the fact that on this end, the Republicans don't know what the hell they want, nor know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
You're going to tell me you're going to screw over 20 million some odd Americans over us, over a black man giving people what we are in need of? You're going to tell me that some idiot by the name of Mitch McConnell, yep, that's you, sir, you know, going to do everything in his power to obstruct President Barack Obama? Sir, and all the other Republicans, let me remind you something. You don't work for company. You don't work for the companies. You don't work for your lobby groups. You work for the U.S. people. You work for those that voted you in. So, with that being said, you know, the people have the power to vote you in or vote you out. They have the power. Unfortunately, the knowledge that people do not have is ignorance. Is point blank ignorance. Now, how you have people out there who believe that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act is two different things. They're the exact same thing. And on top of that, this bill that's on the Senate die. I think it will die, and it should die because it makes no sense. Plus, a lot of those Republican senators are voting for this bill just because a black man gave their constituents what they so in need of. And remember, Barack Obama said, if you have something better, send it to my bill. Send it to my desk and I will sign it. Send it to my desk. And not one Republican has taken him up on that offer. Not a one. So with that being said, there's no excuse. Now you're going to go ahead and try. You're running around like a chicken with his head cut off trying to get rid of a quote-unquote Obamacare. And now, and yet you're going to go ahead while in your pride, let's call it for what it is, in your pride, in your disgust, in your stupidity, you will literally go out of your own way and waste your time, you pay the people's money over your hatred, your ignorance, your bullheadedness, your stubborn stupidity over the fact that we want a better bill. We want to make a better health care plan, knowing full well it's going to screw everyone and everybody over. Not just people of color, not just immigrants, but your regular working class people. And they're mostly white folks. You're going to screw them. So, by all means, you want to screw each other. But don't do it on my dime, don't do it on my time, and then, period. It's not. And on top of it, if everyone's happy with the coverage that they got, don't. What? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Bottom line. If it ain't broke, do not fix it. Do not fix something that is broken. So if you want to go ahead and try to fix what's not broken, you're going to screw it up. It's one to upgrade it. You can upgrade it, you can make provisions, you make changes, but it is not a perfect bill, but it's better than nothing. And I'll be the first person to tell you, I have benefited from this big time. particularly me as a recipient of these benefits, I've been able to get dental insurance, I've been able to get health insurance, and really take care of things I have not been able to take care of in quite some time. It should not be a benefit, it should not even be a privilege. It's something that we all need to take care of ourselves, take care of our health. I mean, literally, you have people who had cancer and didn't even know it. Thanks to this bill, they're able to get the treatment and everything that they need to take care of themselves. I mean, come on. Insurance companies are telling you, and they're in the game to make as much money as they can, but they're telling you, hey, look, you're screwing me over. AARP, who is mostly Democratic, saying not so fast. I mean, come on. Really? If you're that stupid, and you're that dumb, and you're that bullheaded, by all means, step aside. Get out of the damn way. Please do not get in the way of progress. Okay? That's why if you want to be conservative on the sidelines. Conservatism, to me, and America's conservatism today means you're just on the sidelines holding on to 1920s America, where literally, I'm sorry to say this, where white men ruled the day. I'm sorry. This is 2017. Get over it.
Well, when people first start to make a big deal about it.
Okay, listen, like I'm gonna shut this down with this. I talked about it soliloquy. I know Matt missed it, but here's the thing, right? With no individual mandate, right? The most important part of the ACA is this, right? The individual mandate, which is the mandate, and most people, and I true because I know some who would much rather pay the fine, the $500 one, $1,000, whatever the fine is, than to have health care. But if you don't have this individual mandate, see, the reason why the ACA worked, the reason why it was popular amongst people like the AARP and everybody else is because they've looked at the numbers and they see that, oh my goodness, in this country, 3.4, most of this country is young, 18 to 35, right? That's where the power is. We need them to have health care. And the only way we're going to get them to have health care, I know most conservative millennials, yes, there are some, will say the individual mandate sucks. But the reason why their grandmothers, their family members, and everybody else's family members in this country can continue to enjoy the health care that they have, can get things taken care of like Medicare and Medicaid, like Matt said, get cancer, have their daughters with cerebral palsy and different things be taken care of, is because of people like myself, people like Amita, people like Matt, who come in here and say, you know what? We're young, we're in the 18 to 35s, we're in the middle, we're semi-invincible right now. You know, we need healthcare. We have parents or somebody, wise people telling us, yo, just get healthcare because you never know what can happen, right? And I don't know, and that's the reason why the ACA and things like that work, because you have an individual mandate. The reason why the Republican bill, so many people are afraid of the bill being put forth by Mitch McConnell is they say 23 million people are going to lose their health insurance, right? And one of my friends pointed out that half of that number is young people. And, I didn't realize at the time, I just let him go. I just let him go being illogical. Then I thought about it and I said, well, the reason why the ACA works is because you had that individual mandate that most people will say, most of us, I don't know too many people that got $500 like that. Maybe Amita and Matt do, and they're just balling. They can pay that out of pocket, pay that.
I don't.
But I don't know too many people in our age group with $500 or $1,000 to spare just to, pay the fine and be like, yo, I'll just pay the fine, bro. I don't need no health insurance, right? I don't know too many people like that. I don't know too many people that are balling like that. So most people decide to get that individual health care. And that's the best kept secret about it. I actually argued with some trolls on Twitter that were all like, well, my health care went up, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, the reason why the ACA works is because you're making young people side up, right? That's why it works, because you're seeing this now with the Republican bill. If you don't make young people sign up, your bill falls apart because ain't nobody going to insure. And I love my grandparents and everybody else. Ain't nobody insuring nobody 63 and up. Let's be real here. They're halfway out the door anyway. I mean, let's be completely honest here, right?
They already got their stuff from working all them years.
Right. That's why people know what's going to happen when the large majority of baby boomers retire. Everything dies. So what do you need?
And also, believe it or not, being an insurance producer, the younger you are in the insurance world, the younger you are, the cheaper you are. The older you get, the more expensive. Me being a life insurance agent, life and health is synonymous. The only difference between the two, one deals with the living, one deals with the dead. Now, if you're young, chances are your health coverage or your life insurance benefit, the life insurance premium, your life and health insurance premiums are going to be low because you are at your healthiest, and chances are not a lot of crazy stuff is going to happen to you. Pre-existing conditions and stuff like that. As you get older, your premiums will increase because of your age and your lifestyle. Now, so depending on what plan you have and everything else, it depends. It varies. But generally, as you get older, your premiums increase over time. So that's why we tell young people it's best to get it now. Of course, you're going to be invincible, but life happens, and you never know when you're going to need it. So that's why it's important to get the. That's the only thing about the bill I don't agree with ACA is you forcing people to get the insurance. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. I'm going to comply with it. And oh, by the way, for me, and this is a personal testimony, it kicked me. It redirected me to the Pennsylvania welfare thing. Department of what's the new name now? I can't remember this right now. But it redirected me there, and that's how I've been able to get my insurance and everything else through the state, and I'm very grateful and thankful for it. I'm not saying, well, I'm gonna rely on this entitlement, quote unquote. But it's something that, look, everyone needs, and the states won't provide it. Great. If and when I'm able to be on my own and pay for it myself, I have no problem with that because it's something that we all need.
No, see, Matt, where you were wrong is you faulted into that Republican and Southernist. I know you're from the South. I know because I'm raised by somebody from the South. My mother's from Arkansas. So you fell into that trap. It's not an entitlement. Entitlement is something you don't earn. The stuff that we get. I'm not saying I'm entitled to it. I'm not saying, but the way that they're looking at it, it's like, well, you're entitled. Like, hold on. First things first. We all need it, and to deny it, to deny it for everyone because of whatever reason you got is stupid. No, it's not. I was just about to say it's not an entitlement because it's something you pay for. You pay into the ACA. It's just like when somebody say, "Oh, you shouldn't have unemployment because unemployment is for people with no money." No. Get the thing that you pay into. Your taxes. Parts of your taxes go into your health care, the ACA, and everything else. It ain't something that you're entitled to. It's something that you pay into. Parts of your paycheck go into that stuff. No. It's not an entitlement. It's something that you pay for. That's the lie that people buy into. Oh, you're entitled to it. You dang right I'm entitled to it. I paid for it. My taxes went into it just like yours did. You dang right I'm gonna get what's mine. And let me kill another one because since we on here and we doing personal testimonies, right? Let me kill this whole city state line. Like I hear people say, well, the bill could be better. They did it across state lines. No, that don't work. And let me show you why it don't work, right? When I was in college, I was a sophomore year. Matt knows this. Amita probably doesn't remember because I was out of high school by then. But I broke my femur when I was sophomore year of college, and I was in Reading, Pennsylvania, right? And I'm from Philly. That's like an hour. Those of you that don't know Pennsylvania, Reading to Philadelphia is like a 45 minutes to
It's
an
a
hour
short drive.
to an hour drive, right? Now listen, right? I have a aluminum rod in my right leg because I broke my right femur, right? Long story short, right? I have Independence Blue Cross, which is what most people have in Philadelphia. Blue Cross Blue Shield, right? That healthcare, my health insurance, they wouldn't take it in the healthcare. In the healthcare. In the hospital. Why? Because in Reading, Blue Cross Blue Shield doesn't exist. Right? So
Highmark, I think it is.
huh?
I think it's Highmark. Blue
Right.
Cross Blue Shield.
Right. So where it was not established, it still isn't established in Reading, right? And this is what most people face depending on where they are, right? Unless they're in a big city. So some kind of way we had to get it paid for, got it paid for, had to do some gymnastics to get it paid for, but it was paid for, right? But that's why stuff like that doesn't work. Some people say, well, why don't we do it across state lines? I just shared you a small example of what happens, right? I live in a big city, and my health insurance wasn't carried into a city 45 minutes away from the city I live in. Imagine how that's going to take when somebody says, oh, let's say I have Blue Cross Blue Shield and I get hurt in Piscataway, New Jersey. Let me pick on where Rutgers main campus is, right? And let's just say they don't have Blue Cross Blue Shield in Piscataway, New Jersey. Let's just say that. They probably do. I've never been to Piscataway, New Jersey. Sorry. But that's what you're facing. Different places have different things. Sometimes your health care isn't covered there because they just don't have it. And that's why the state line stuff don't work. That's another thing they were fighting because a lot of these health insurers don't have establishments where they are. So, that's just a practical example. But anyway, y'all, be knowledgeable. Sorry, man, did you have something to say?
Yeah, one other thing is like this: a lot of state laws are different. They vary from state to state. So that argument to say, well, to go across state lines, laws are different and they vary from state to state. That's what makes it very tricky. That's what makes it very difficult to navigate. I mean, look, let's go for what it is. I'll take the single payer healthcare system any day of the week, honestly. But I'm just a socialist.
Listen, I'm for whatever helps people. The ACA is just a thing that helps people at the time, and it does have its holes. Nope, I'm not going to say it doesn't. It's not perfect, right?
It's a start. It's something.
But it's a start, and a Harvard-educated African-American man was able to do something that no other president has been able to do, and they trying to kill the healthcare legacy that's helped so many of y'all. And I just need y'all to understand that y'all need to fight for this. We got until November 2018. You got to stay vigilant. Mitch McConnell is like a manipulator straight out of Game of Thrones, House of Cards, whatever your favorite manipulator TV show is. He's one of those, right? He's gonna come up with something brilliant that'll sneak and shame people into voting for it. That's what he's gonna do. That's what he is good at. Do not be surprised. This is a man that played the long game and got a Supreme Court seat because he got in bed with Donald Trump and his gamble paid off, right? That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. This is a man that I won't say stole, but played the game correctly and got a Supreme Court seat. That's a nice way of putting it. But we've been on.
He stole it.
We've been on healthcare too long, and none of us outside of Matt are really healthcare professionals. But that's how passionate we are about healthcare. So let's go to our two more sports related hot takes. Guys, what do you think of John McEnroe's comments on Serena Williams? Sexist, I know. But what do you guys think? We'll let the woman start. Go ahead, Abita.
Good call.
What was the question? Like, so I can get it together.
What did you think of John McEnroe's comments on Serena Williams? That you
Oh,
know.
I think it's stupid. I mean, like, all these people keep coming at her. Like, what more do people have to? What more does she have to do? She's having a baby. It's a woman. People coming at her, calling her all sorts of names. I think what's going to happen is that she's eventually just going to, explode. I mean, I've been following Serena since I was like little, what, 3, 4 years old, and people, the white people, just keep coming for her. Like, so I think it was just wrong. Like, why would you say something like that? Like, I think they're hating because it's that white girl that she always playing tennis against, always losing against her. So I think it's a vendetta against her.
But
People just
Wow.
can't. People can't
uh,
stand. People can't stand that black girl magic, and it's just terrible.
I'll take it a step further. I'm gonna take it a step further. I did hear about it. I didn't really read deep into it, but I did hear about it. And believe it or not, um, there was a article. Well, I didn't read the article, but she's on the cover. She's on the cover of Vanity Fair magazine. She's on the cover of Vanity Fair magazine. And by the she is like, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, you might want to take some precautions. It is a nude shot, but it's her and her baby bump and everything else, right? Now, I think that this me and this me and young lady, we had a conversation, yeah, at an open mic, at an open jam session at a bar, of course. And the the one thing she brought up, because she's mixed, she's mixing everything else, and one thing she brought up was how a lot of white men, in particular, um, fetish, fetishize, fetish, fetishize black women, and vice versa when it comes to white women, black men. They actually, it's a fetish. You know, the fact of being like the fact of being with somebody of the quote unquote exotic species, if you will, and still and not respect him or her for their personality or whatever have you. Number one, it's wrong to do that. Number two, she's pregnant. It is amazing to me, particularly as a man, how people either slut shame or just flat out shaming women because of a body transformation, on the fact that they're carrying literally a little human being for 9 months.
I think
I
she's
mean,
having a boy.
I don't care if she hasn't born a girl.
I,
The fact of the matter is simple. That's just not. I don't care honestly because that's not my child. The point the point is when she if when she wants to come back and finish out her tennis career. Let me tell you something. Y'all gonna piss her off. Y'all done pissed her off. And you know when y'all say something about Serena. This is nothing new. She gonna win. Now, um, with that being said, it's not right. It's not fair. It's not cool to even stoop that low. Man, I haven't really had to read too much into it, but it's just bottom line, not right, not cool. And if he has not apologized sincerely, he should. And please don't kiss ass because we hate that too. We hate when people, uh, be sincere about it. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it, but you don't do it for show. Okay, no, I forgive you and be on my business. No, I mean we have to be sincere about that stuff because there's women out here. No matter who, body changes. Sometimes it snaps back. Sometimes, most of the time, it does not. But that's how it operates, particularly with women. And as men, we have to hold ourselves as men to a very high standard. Like first, bottom line, you don't talk about someone like that. Which, oh, by the way, Serena's been high on my radar since high school. Okay, everybody was on Venus's top, but that's just my opinion. But it's not cool. It's not fair. It's not right. And to stoop to this level, it's inhumane. Bottom line, Colin, finish it out. This is silly.
All right. So I feel it appropriate just for the record to say to quote what he actually said and not defending him in any way, but he was asked a question. It wasn't prompted, but what he said was Serena couldn't beat the 700th ranked man in tennis. So like she's the greatest women's tennis player. And those of you who have listened to the show, and Matt knows that I have made the argument that other than Michael Jordan in the modern day era from the early 90s, well, even though Serena came in about the time Tiger Woods did, 97, 98, but still from the 90s, outside of Michael Jordan, nobody had a more dominant individual 90s, even though Michael Jordan was in a team sport, individual 90s since Serena Williams, right? Serena Williams and Venus, but Serena Williams, especially in the 2000s, has been dominant, right? And I love Serena Williams. I'm Team Williams sisters all day, right? And first off, John McEnroe, he has not apologized. He won't apologize. John McEnroe, he's been playing tennis since our parents' days.
I saw something on the Griot. It was an article that was posted tonight or early today. I think it said that he was in remorse. I don't know, but they did post an article on the Griot about it.
Plus, believe it or not, John McEnroe is one of the bad boys of tennis anyway, so he already has a reputation.
Right. So John McEnroe, he's one of the best loudmouths in the sports world outside of Joe Namath. He is the second famous, for lack of a better term, loudmouth in sports. Right. He was the Donald Trump before there was a Donald Trump. He's been saying controversial crap since he started playing tennis. So, that wasn't a surprise. When I heard somebody say that, I was all like, well, had they not told me, I would have assumed it was John McEnroe because Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi ain't going to say it. So, I assumed it would come from John McEnroe because he has a book to sell. But this has convinced me beyond the shadow of a doubt. I don't usually get to guessing what the gender of people's children are, but I'm going to agree with Amina just because based on what McEnroe said, I think Serena is going to have a boy, and she's going to teach that boy so she can't do it. She's going to teach that boy to be dominant, and so 20 or so years from now, when you see a boy, maybe I'm just going to pick a generic black name named Andre Williams or whatever. And he'll probably you probably won't have his mom's last name. It'll probably be the boy who invented Reddit's last name. I forget what his last name is. But Andre whatever, I'm just picking a generic name. And if it winds up being Andre, then I totally called it. But Andre whatever, people will say, oh, that's Serena's kid. And he's going to be just like his mama and dominate because, if it's a girl, and I don't care one way or another, but based on what John McEnroe said, I think it needs to be a boy. I think I'm not God, but
I've been saying to people that it's going to be a boy. I swear it's going to be a boy.
Right. And so I think from when you start getting hand-eye coordination, 3 or 4 years old, you're going to start seeing him with a racket in his hand, and he's going to do what his what his mother and his aunt couldn't do and go dominate the men's tour, right? He's going to win the most titles you can win in the men's tour. Because like I said, I'm not sure. I know Serena has the most titles on the women's side, but I'm not sure how many individual titles somebody has on the men's side, right? So I know that Serena has, outside of Navratilova, the second highest, championships in tennis. So, she has 25. So, whenever she comes back, if she even comes back, she might retire. Whenever she comes back.
She says she'll be back in 2018 at some point next year.
Well, after she's done having a kid and being dominant, then she's going to teach her kid, which will probably be a boy, to dominate. And then we won't be able, and then I call this 20 years from now when Serena is 55, they'll ask her, like, so what inspired your son to dominate the tennis world? And she'll be all like, well, I kept the receipts from when John McEnroe said on CBS Today that I couldn't beat the 700 ranked male tennis player. So I pushed that into my son, and now he's dominating the tennis world. So, John McEnroe. Who's laughing now? That's what I think.
Just don't turn into a LeVar Ball situation, Lonzo Ball situation. Just don't.
Well, no, I'm not turning it into that because if anybody listen, Richard Williams was the LeVar Ball before there was a LeVar Ball. Everybody remembers their dad, how radical he was. Remember? But like
I got to call you out on this one. I got to call you out on this one because believe it or not, the way he had to protect his girls, and believe it or not, with fathers, and you can talk to you about this. When it comes to girls, fathers they're protected in a certain way to where they don't want nothing happening to their girls. You have to protect them. Versus boys is a whole different story. You just throwing the wall. You just throwing the wall. You have to stick.
I agree.
But with girls, you have to. He did what he had to do to protect his girl, particularly from the media and everything else, because he knows, particularly as a black man, what the media could do to young black girls. He knew this. He understood this, and he trained them up to where they had carried themselves a certain way. So, believe it or not, if it weren't for his father, we wouldn't have the Williams sisters that we have today because of their father.
Oh no! Listen, I totally agree, and that's why I said, John McEnroe's comments, they were out of balance. Some people may call them very truthful. They were out of balance just because, that's a hypothetical. That's like saying what we say in sports, like the 90s Bulls. Some people say the 90s Bulls can't hang with today's Warriors. That's a hypothetical that will never happen unless it's like a charity game and Serena Williams just doesn't care. Like, that's not going to happen. There's no way she'll ever play on the men's tour. Although, some people in some people's minds, because her and Michelle Obama get called men so much on the internet, some people probably think they can play in the tour anyway. But that's not disrespectful to Serena Williams because Serena Williams is a great tennis player. She's proven that she's one of the best, not male or female, because I don't. Sometimes I don't believe in this, but when it comes to Serena and the fact that what we rate as titles, she has 25 of them bad boys, right? She's better. She has more titles than most of your favorite players combined. Outside of, she even has more titles than Bill Russell, right? And all those players played in team sports, and the only person close to her is Tiger Woods because he has 16. And their individual sports, I know they're not weighted any differently, but she has 25 of them bad boys, right? So she's one of the greatest to ever play tennis. There's no debate. It ain't men, women, no. She's one of the greatest ever to play tennis. Mm-hmm. That's how I'm shutting that one down. So, on to our next and final hot take. And I know Amina probably doesn't care because it's not about her Warriors, but for the 76ers, Matt, truly be a powerhouse, does Joel Embiid needs to play a full season?
I think so. From the small sample of games that we have seen Embiid play, we've seen that he can be a problem to the opposition. Also, he's a guy that you have to account for when he's on the floor. So it does open up the floor a little bit. It really does. And his scoring ability, I think is something to be taken seriously. Now with the addition to Markelle Fultz and everything else, and Ben Simmons, and I think Shark coming off the bench, you really think that it's imperative that Okafor being that facilitator down low opens up the game for the Sixers. So it's imperative he has to at least get 60 games in. At the bare minimum, 50 to 60 games in. And of course, barring injury. But with that being said, I do believe he needs to play that full season. Because that small sample is not enough for this team. And when he's playing, oh my God, it's like watching Sixer games is never a dull moment. It never is. It is fun to watch. He's brings to the team is something that's watchable. And we haven't had that in like what 4 years, 5 years? Watchable basketball. We haven't had that in a while since Villanova. It's great.
So watchable basketball.
Girl, have you seen this nonsense?
Mm-hmm.
4 years of losing. I think we've had enough. We've had enough. I trust the process. I mean, yeah, the team formerly known as the Philadelphia Warriors, now Golden State, they got their title. Okay, now it's
5 of them.
Oh, hush your face. Now,
Yay, 5.
oh, hush your face. Look. The bottom is, Embiid has to play the whole season. That's where I'm at right now. 5 times my ass.
Mina, you got an opinion?
Sixers, they'll be fine. I think he just should go the whole season, like he said.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Everybody that listens to the show, no, I'm in the. I called it last week. Embiid needs to play 41 to 52 games, and if he does not play 40 to 52 games, then the Sixers need to consider trading him. I am of that mindset. I know, but y'all, we're gonna have to make a decision, or we can pay them both $100 million if we don't want anybody next year in 2018. But Embiid is a great player. He is a legend. No, I won't say he's a legend, but he's a growing legend in Philadelphia. He's making himself amongst the greatest players, and he's growing in legacy. He's definitely the best young player we have right now. Out of Carson Wentz, Markelle Fultz, Gostonberry for the Flyers, and all these other players. So, and I think for his sake and for the fans' sake, he needs to play because he brings personality. He's definitely the most personable person we have in Philly athletics. So I'm definitely excited. I want him to play, and definitely for the 76ers, to truly be that great team that they need to be. They need Embiid. Embiid's got to play at least 45 to 50 games, 45 to 60 games. That's where I'm at. For them to make the playoffs, because they kind of punished him. That's why he didn't win Rookie of the Year, because he only played 31 games. So, he needs to play more games. So, 45 to 60. So he can
the sample of those 31 games were the best 31 games ones have ever seen. Literally. I mean,
I,
come on. I
I,
think we should
It's
look
not
again.
enough.
Sure.
Not enough.
I remember 27-4. I remember the record. I remember 27-4. I remember the record. A playoff team during those 31 games.
Mhm.
I definitely remember 27-4. And
I
that's
will
why I
call
said
this right now. I will call this right now. If Embiid plays at least 60 games, this team is going to the playoffs. You heard it here. If they play at least 60 games, this team is going to the playoffs. Point
uh,
blank.
you can run that. You can run that back. I said this last week. If Embiid plays 45 to 60 of these games, like I'm giving him 42 to 50, right? So if he plays that amount of games, the Sixers are in the playoffs. And I think with the addition of Markel Fultz will be the Damian Lillard, and we will see if anything happens to Embiid. I'm telling you right now, if Markel Fultz is anything like he's advertised being the Damian Lillard, Markel Fultz will help Embiid or Okafor, one of them, become the LaMarcus Aldridge of the team. I'm just gonna make this comparison since we're calling him Damian Lillard. That means one of our big men has to be LaMarcus Aldridge. So, we need we need Embiid. I like Embiid. So I don't want nobody to get it twisted. I like Embiid. I'm a Philadelphia fan. I like Embiid. Embiid must play at least 45 to 50 games, 45 to 60 games. I'm with Matt. If he does that, we will make the playoffs. I'm there. And I know Amina's over there saying it's not enough, but it doesn't even matter because we won't have to see her team until the finals. So we'll see you not this year, but 5 years from now. We'll see you.
Yeah, about that. Okay, so what's up with so let's go on to another situation. What is up with Cleveland right about now?
We ain't there yet. We ain't there yet. We
Don't
we
care.
all
Next.
we on that sorry team up I-95, the New York Knickerbockers.
They
That
don't have a
dumpster
general
fire.
manager. The Cleveland. They-
They, we'll get to Cleveland. That dumpster fire up in New York. They finally fired Phil Jackson. I like to take credit for it because I wrote that Zen article, and I like to think James Dolan saw that article and said, "Oh, you know what? That Philadelphia boy is right. I need to fire him." But I might be wrong. But Phil Jackson got fired. What's your thoughts? Go ahead, Amina.
Um, well, I already know he wasn't a good addition to the team for as far as in the office. So hopefully whoever replaces him can help them because the Knicks haven't been relevant since when? I can't even recall when they've been
Phil
relevant.
Jackson.
Yeah,
2013.
yeah, it's been a while, right? And I only know one person who's a diehard Knicks fan, so that shows how much love they get. But
Oh, you know Spike Lee too?
no, I legit only know one person I've met in my life that's a diehard Knicks fan. Just one person. It's sad,
I
but
know. I know. We both know the same person, Spike Lee, right?
a boy I used to go to elementary school with. But
Oh, you're not getting the joke.
I get the joke. I get the joke. But anyway, I feel as though it's a good move. I mean, they're cleaning up their office. They're cleaning up their organization. Hopefully they'll get some people to make the team relevant at some point again. I mean, not every team could be number one, but make them at least not be at the bottom because the bottom the last of almost last of the barrel, like one of the last teams in their conference this past season. So hopefully his firing will bring somebody that can bring new, brighter, and better ideas to their team that can actually see potential and stuff. Because
Matty Ice?
Because New York is terrible. The Knicks and the Nets, they're terrible. Something's got to be done. New York's basketball teams, they're horrible.
True. The football teams are horrible too. Go ahead, Matt.
No, get right behind my New England football team. The hell with the Jets and the Giants. Look,
And the Yankees for baseball.
I'm gonna withhold that. Being as a Phillies fan, I hate the Yankees with every fiber of my being, and the Mets. But actually, the Yankees are playing very well. Anywho, I'll tell you that later. It is unfortunate that we had to get to this point. It is unfortunate that the dumpster fire that is the New York Knickerbockers has come to this point. The thing is simply this. This should have happened last year, if not the year before. Why? Because the man lost control from day one. Literally. I mean, this man is who he is. A great coach. That's it. Not a front. He's not. I don't think you got front office guy. He's better as a coach, and with the triangle offense and everything, the Zen Master needs to do just coach. That's it. I mean, what he did with the Bulls and the Lakers is something that is one Red Auerbach. Now, the difference between Auerbach and Jackson, Auerbach he did very well as a front office guy in Boston versus the Zen Master, zero. So, with that being said, I'm glad that the owner of the Knicks got some type of sense and knew that, you know what, this ship is rudderless, and we need a rudder, and we need the right rudder. So he had to go. I'm glad he had to go. I'm glad he's gone, unfortunately. But if you're a Knicks fan and you're sick and tired of seeing the insanity being replayed over and over and over and over again, chances are you would be rejoicing, including Spike Lee. Because let me be honest with you, as much as I hate the following teams: the Knicks, the Nets, the Jets, the Rangers, the Islanders. Oh shoot, I got it wrong. Let me wrong. The Rangers, the Islanders, the Nets, the Mets, the Jets, the Knicks, the Yankees, and the Giants. As much as I hate those teams, they're not New York when they are not playing or producing results. It's just not New York. I'm sorry. So, with that being said, kudos to you, sir. Kudos to you. At least there's a brain up there somewhere that's working, Mr. Dolan. And I hope you make the right decision, because right now you are still the laughingstock of the National Basketball Association as we speak. So, kudos to you, sir. Kudos to you.
I wrote an article. It's funny how these things happen. Now, last Friday, you all remember, or Thursday, whatever day that was, I forget. I wrote an article called "It's Time for a Zen Exit," right? And in that article, I laid out. You can check the article out on WatsonSportsTakes.com and on Razar.com. The article, the Watson Sports Takes is my own personal site, and the Razar is the website I work for. But you can take those to the bank, check that out, and then you can check out the other one that I just wrote, Dolan frees the Knicks. That is on what just recently happened, but it's funny how these things go. Anyway, so check those articles out. A little bit of self-promotion here, like I said. But I think the reason why James Dolan grew a brain, right? Or, if I only had a brain, the Tin Man finally decided to have a brain, because he looked and said, "Oh, stat, my investment that I put money in, I put 60. He was the highest paid executive. He was making $60 million a year. I wish I had that job, $60 million a year, to ruin the Knicks. That's what he was paid, right? So, So what happened is he pissed off the two players you can't piss off. He pissed off Carmelo Anthony. Now notice he didn't do anything when he was pissing off Carmelo Anthony. But the second he heard he tried to trade Porzingis, he said, "Oh, stat." Now, don't get me wrong. Those two players are both his boys. I'm sure Carmelo Anthony had been lobbying James Dolan to fire Phil Jackson all season because the only reason most people don't know this. The only reason that the only reason that Carmelo Anthony is still a Knick is because of James Dolan. Because James Dolan is the person that convinced Carmelo Anthony to come to New York because James Dolan is a Wall Street person. He made a lot of money on Wall Street. He's been showing Carmelo Anthony I won't say the legit side because it makes Carmelo Anthony sound like a drug dealer. But the business side of basketball and how to make your money and take his holdings with Jordan Brand further out and get more holdings. So he's made Carmelo Anthony a bunch of money. That's why Carmelo Anthony stays with the Knicks, right? A lot of people say, well, why is Carmelo Anthony, still with the Knicks? Is it because he likes losing? No, it's because Carmelo Anthony likes money. That's what he likes. He likes money, right? And James Dolan is showing him how to make more money, right? How to be the second billionaire after LeBron James, right? So, and all of them playing catch up to Michael and Kobe. But, you have all that. And so, but I'm happy for the Knicks. They've done the impossible. They got 3 people in Philadelphia to agree that we have a hate for New York sports teams and a hate. I have no problem with the people in New York, but I just don't like the environment in New York itself. The rats are big as crap, all that stuff. I know a lot of named New Yorkers are used to hearing that, so that's not something that's new. But the Knicks are a sad franchise. They were a sad excuse for a team. Like I said, they were up there last year with the Cleveland Browns for laughing stock of both major sports in the United States. And James Dolan finally woke up. He finally looked around and said, "Oh, snap. I've allowed Phil Jackson to run wild and piss off Carmelo Anthony. My high value free agent acquisition, the only free agent I've been able to get in the last 3 or 4 years. And I let him piss off the future of my franchise. This can't stand." So bravo. I share Matt's applause. Bravo to James Dolan for finally having a brain, for having some balls and saying bye-bye Phil Jackson, for doing a Zen exit, getting rid of Phil Jackson. Now the next thing is, as I pointed out in my article, finding somebody who will right the ship with a disgruntled Carmelo Anthony. And shouts out to the Nigerian-born Canadian that's running the Toronto Raptors, Meiji Ujiri. Hopefully I pronounced that last name right. Meiji Ujiri, who is a native Nigerian who is the president of basketball operations for the Raptors. He might come to New York. Let me help you out, Mr. Ujiri. I know you might think this is a promotion, but don't go to New York because even though the bar is low, it's New York. Stay in Toronto where you have Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan and ride that ship until they get too old. Then you make your move. Do like old school Jay-Z did in Coming of Age. He was telling young Memphis Bleak. I know this podcast has got to a point where we're quoting Jay-Z again. He said, you let the mother Udos get the fame, stick the game, 10th hour 100G, keep your stuff the same. On the low, the only way to blow. Let your stuff bubble quietly and then you blow. So this is what you do, Mr. Ujiri. You stay in Toronto, you let that team blow up. You re-sign Kyle Lowry, you get DeMar DeRozan to commit for another couple of years, you get yourself another high-value free agent, and you challenge the Celtics and the Cavaliers for supremacy for second place to who will lose to the Warriors. That's what you do. You stay in Toronto or you keep going. Don't go to New York. I've never tell another black man how to make his money, but stay in Toronto, man. New York, you don't want to be in New York because you're gonna be the one when Carmelo Anthony leaves, they're gonna blame you. when Porzingis leave in 2 more years, they're gonna blame you. You just stay in your lane, dog. Stay in Toronto. Anybody else got anything to add?
Nope.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on. Chris Paul. Oh wait, nope, this one. Anybody other than me watch Raw this week, or did they watch the YouTube videos of the Ball family on Raw?
Oh. I have not watched wrestling since ECW. One Night Stand.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. All right. Well, I watched this. So I'll just...
don't get me wrong. I mean, I haven't watched wrestling like 3 years, but I'm sorry. Since ECW, since ECW was like, done. I couldn't do it. I miss my hardcore wrestling.
Okay. Well, all right. So here's what happened, right? LeVar Ball and the Ball family, they were on Raw. They had this segment with The Miz. I know these wrestlers, 5 wrestlers that both of you haven't heard of. But the Ball family were there. The show took place in LA, so they brought the Ball family. They were having this nice little segment, and then LaMelo Ball dropped the word that you can't say in front of white people. Y'all know the word I am talking about on live television, the N-word. He did something in wrestling that hasn't been done since Booker T. And all of you know, I try to stay away from the N-word because I know we have diverse people who watch this show. And so I would ask you guys, as I just described it, if you want to state your opinion on the Ball family, maybe you're tired. I know Matt is. I know Matt is tired of the Ball family, especially LeVar Ball. But if you want to comment, then you can comment on that. But as I said, he dropped the word that you are not supposed to drop, and he made WWE issue an apology because they dropped that word that's been banned in wrestling since Booker T said it in reference to Hulk Hogan. The "we coming for you," right? You can fill the blank with the N-word, but that's what happened. LaMelo Ball did the thing that most of us do, where he was saying, LeVar was all like, "LaMelo, I handle my light work," and he was all like, "Dad, you got this, get that," right? And then the music hit. Nobody heard it. Well, I didn't hear it on the television, but apparently it was live in the arena, and they were upset. So, I'll start. I'll say it like this. WWE, this is what happens when you get the Ball family involved. You have how old is LaMelo? 15, 16? You have a 16-year-old, maybe, they get hyped. It's a hype situation, and they say some things that they shouldn't say. Apparently, LaMelo is the most like his father. So, what that's going to be at 16 compared to what it's going to be a couple of years from now when he's at UCLA, don't know. But you know what you get when you have this family. You know that the other son didn't come on. It was just LaMelo, LeVar, and Lonzo. And the middle child didn't come. But, this is what happens, man. The Ball family is controversial. You want the ratings and you want the money. This is what you got to take with the ratings and money. Now, I think the young man will learn from this and learn not to say the N-word on live television, especially in wrestling. But, that is what it is. I mean, that's the act, man. That's what we got to get used to, as long as there's a ball in the NBA, that there will be moments like this where the Ball family is just being too much, doing too much, and stuff like this happens. Matt, you got anything? You can just go on the Ball family as a whole.
Look, I already beat the dead horse already, because frankly, the horse is already dead. Somehow, some way, it has a pulse. So, first of all, it is the male soap opera that is professional sports entertainment, aka quote unquote wrestling. If you understand about wrestling, you've ever been to a show, because I know I haven't, it gets volatile. And you have to and I have to give credit to those athletes that have to learn and train themselves to keep part of their emotions in check because you're still putting on a show. The WWE is not the same. It's never been the same since. You know, I mean, of course it's different. It's going to be different. You know, I don't know WWE's side of things. I don't think it was a wise idea. You know, this is the same company that brought in Pete Rose, the all-time hit king, who was banned from baseball because banned from baseball because of betting on baseball games. Which by the way, he should be in the Hall of Fame, but that's another whole different hot take within itself. Then just Donald Trump was on the show. He's been on a few tapings. So the WWE's gone for shock value before. With that being said, I really think that I haven't seen the video nor want to because I don't want to feed the stupidity that is Lonzo Ball. I don't want to feed into it. But don't give that man a platform.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. You know, WWE, they got rid of that video because he said the M word, and you can.
Oh, it's too late.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it, but the video doesn't exist. If it does, it's not on WWE. You can probably find it from somebody who.
It's everywhere. It's look. It's the internet. It's everywhere. Once it's out there, it's out there. There's nothing you can sit there try to hunt for everything, but it doesn't matter. Once it's out there, it's out there. There's nothing you can do about it. But it's and Mina can come in and jump on this one because the dumbest thing that you can do is invite a fool to do a full show. You invite a fool to a circus. So my thing is this: if you know what's good for you, do not invite that loud piece, that loud mouth. Don't do it. We have seen it on First Take. We've seen it with shows. You think, and yes, WWE does do some wild, whacked out stuff, and it's expected. But come on now, really? Come on. Mina, my dear, take the baton.
I mean, are you there?
Hey, you might want to hit the
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I had put myself on mute. I haven't caught up with wrestling and that the sport in a while, so I wouldn't be like up to modern, whatnot with it. But I got nothing to say about it because I haven't been catching up with it. I've been worried about the other stuff lately.
All right, then. Well, we're moving right along then. So, guys, and I want to get Amina's thoughts because this is her conference. Chris Paul sign and trade straight to the Rockets. Go ahead, Amina.
Oh, that's going to be a good. That's going to be a good team. I mean, the Clippers they were lovely this season. It wasn't lovely enough to make it too far, but they made it far enough. So, Chris Paul going to the Rockets. It sent a shockwave through the NBA. One of the very first people that reacted to it happens to be LeBron James. I was amazed by it. The Rockets, they're gonna love him. They're welcoming him in. The coach has already reached out to him. The teammates reaching out to him. People from Houston, they all Chris Paul this, Chris Paul that. So he's gonna be loved there. He's gonna be cherished, and he's gonna bring his firepower to the team. So I think the Rockets are gonna be something special to watch this coming season, which starts in 3 months. just about. Yes, potential to be on that team, and I think it's a great move.
All right, Matty Ice.
What the? Jeez, y'all, can y'all get off the NBA's wood for 5 seconds? I mean, you just had the draft. I mean, can't we just give it a rest here? I'm kidding. Jeez, Louise. I mean, I understand the NFL has been there's no dead news is there. You got dead news in hockey. Well, not really dead news in hockey, but all right, look. Um, what's it about the Houston Rockets, right? Look, hey, Colin, remind me what I lost my train of thought. Remind me what you asked me.
Chris Paul sign and trade. What do you think about it to the Rockets?
Oh, oh, that. Go Houston. The fact that the fact that you have a man that can spread the ball around and at least alleviates much of the burden from James Harden. So that's my only take on that is the fact that you give Harden less responsibility, less. You're taking the burden off of him, and you let him go play more freely, in my view. Because Chris Paul, he's one of the best point guards in the NBA. Which many will agree. And also, like I said, you need that 1-2 punch. You need that 1-2, particularly in Houston, to stay with San Antonio, Golden State, and the like. So. Oh yeah, and OKC, which by the way they suck anyway, but that's neither here nor there. So, with that being said, kudos to Houston. Kudos.
All right. Well, to wrap it all up, I think that it is a great move. I'm gonna agree with Matt and Amina. It is a great move by the Rockets to get Chris Paul and to take advantage of it. It's a great thing for them to beat. You know, he really had his pick between the two Texas teams, whether to go to San Antonio or Houston. He decided to go to Houston to play with James Harden, right? Now, the one thing that this doesn't help is the one question that's still yet to be determined is, will Chris Paul do the impossible and get James Harden to play defense? Because we know the one thing James Harden doesn't do is play defense, right? But you know, it takes the responsibility off of him. It makes him want to play defense. I mean, not want to play defense. It makes James Harden be less tired, which is great because we all know the reason that the Rockets were swept by Amina's Warriors was, you know, they James Harden had just run out of gas. It was a one-person show. You know, the Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder are two teams that are just built on one person. And now the Rockets have added that second option or 1B to the Rockets franchise. That's going to be great. And much like Markelle Fultz will do for the 76ers, it'll spread the floor. It'll give James Harden something to work with. It'll give him some. It'll do the opposite of what LeBron James has in Cleveland. It'll allow James Harden to rest, and you know James Harden doesn't really rest. I mean, in this arms race that it is now there's the fourth team in the arms race now. I mean, Golden State is at the top because they're going to have Kevin Durant, and we'll see what happens if their team changes in free agency as far as if Andre Iguodala comes back or not. But, you know, it's definitely a second team to challenge the Warriors. The Rockets are definitely, instead of being the third team, they're definitely up there with San Antonio as the second team now in the West. So that's good for them. But, you know, ultimately, will that be enough? in the Western Conference matchup, 27 in the Western Conference or in the playoffs. That's yet to be determined. But on paper, they look good. They look like the second best team right now. With all due respect to San Antonio might pull it out. We'll see what San Antonio does. But right now, everybody's trying to come for the Warriors, and so we'll see if the Rockets add Paul George. I was about to say George Paul, which we'll get to in a minute. Paul George, but Chris Paul definitely makes the Rockets a better team. Definitely makes them play a better team. But my one problem with the Rockets and what they did to get a trade is this, right? They got rid of Patrick Beverley, and the one problem with Patrick Beverley is this, right? They got rid of Patrick Beverley, which took away their defensive edge, right? So now, Chris Paul is good, but he really doesn't play defense either. So, he does have more defensive prowess than, say, James Harden. But, the one thing that the Rockets do need, they need a defensive presence, and whether that is Paul George or somebody else, they need somebody who can be a defender. They need a good defender. That's what they need. And that's going to be, and that's where it's at, man. And that's good for the Rockets. They are, like I said, right now, until San Antonio does something. And bear in mind, the free agency doesn't start until July 1st. So San Antonio could theoretically get Paul George, get rid of LaMarcus Aldridge, and maybe they'll get Gordon Hayward. But you never know. So, San Antonio, right now, they're all battling for second place, but we'll see what happens with the Rockets, with the Rockets and the Warriors. And I'm excited for what's going on. The Sixers are on the come up in the East, and now the Rockets are on the come up in the West, and we'll see what the Warriors and Spurs do to combat it. It's exciting. All right, so we're going to break up the basketball talk and let Matt do his baseball corner. Go ahead, Matt.
All right. Well, you were yapping. I was looking at some league leaders in MLB, basically. But before I get to that, just to let y'all know, if you are very, very interested, we are pretty much midway through baseball season. Yep. July 11th is the All-Star game. Which I call the All-Star break, where all news and sports cease to exist. So, yeah, Cal, let you know, bruh, you're going to have a dead news day that week. But, put this way, the Philadelphia Phillies are playing baseball. Oh my God. After what's his name? Freddie Galvis went on an epic rant. Philly's been playing a lot better. But, yo, I'm gonna tell you something right now. It's one player you need to, if you're a bit, just in general, player you need to look at is Aaron Judge of the Yankees. Now, y'all know how much I hate the New York Yankees, but you gotta give this boy credit. You really, because let me tell you right now, this man's been on a tear. I think he leads the American League home runs, batting average, runs scored, on base percentage, and RBIs. Here you go. Aaron Judge has right now batting 333, 27 home runs, 0 RBIs. OPS is It's OPS or on base plus slugging is 1.153. This look, he is literally the real deal, and he is, I think, the new Mr. Yankee right now after Derek Jeter. I mean, literally, you do not, I repeat, do not sleep on the New York Yankees because of this man right now. So that's one thing. But yet, the Phillies were still the worst team in baseball still. And Pat Neshek look, take the closer role. And right now, this team needs a closer more than anything else. And to be a prima donna in the bullpen is the worst thing you can do. Look at Jonathan Papelbon. I mean, that man got knocked out in Washington, I think, twice. So if I were you, Pat Nashik, just take the closer role and be done with it. So, wait, the Phillies are right now 26-51, the worst team in baseball right now. The worst team in baseball. Best team in baseball still is not the Yankees. It's the Houston Astros. So, I know I'm all over the place today, but still, the fact of the matter is, expect to see much of these AAA standouts in the major leagues by mid-July, mid to late July. It's time. For many of these guys, it's time because honestly, most of this roster that you see today will not be here in 2 years. It has to happen. The core must come up now. The time is now. So, baseball age is like between the prime is around 23, 24 years old, and most of these guys are tearing the cover off the ball, so playing well. So with that being said, it's time for the Phillies to really bring this team from the minors up to the majors and see what we have. We're the worst team in baseball, and chances are we're going to finish as the worst team in baseball and have the number one pick in the draft again. But the time is now. Matt Klentak, I'm sorry, of all the 4 general managers in Philadelphia, I can't believe I'm saying this, I personally do not have a whole lot of faith and trust in this man right now. I just don't. You manage a farm system that's one of the best in baseball. One of the best in baseball. But I'm not having a whole lot of faith in Klentak right now. Just not. Oh, by the way, here's if you want to know, Washington's first in the National League East, Milwaukee's first, and the Dodgers are first in the West. But believe it or not, don't worry about it. Yankees, Boston, one of the oldest rivalries in sports, they're actually tied for first in the American League East. So if you ain't watched baseball yet, this is a good time to start watching right now.
All right. Well, our next question. That was Matt's baseball corner. Great thing. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all why we're doing this on a Thursday. Well, the reason why we're doing this on a Thursday is because, once again, we're doing this day early. It's not because Thursday. It's just Thursday to all of us, but it's because we have another. Usually, when we're doing something a day early, it's because we have something big. So this weekend again is another big weekend for us. There is a racial reconciliation conference at our church. So for Friday night and Saturday night. So during the times that we will have the podcast, we would be having a racial reconciliation conference. So that's why we're doing this on a Thursday. Those of you who are wondering. Just not because Thursday is a new day. We will go back to Friday at 9:00. Hopefully next week, unless there's another big thing during the week. But that's just where we're at now. So back to the topics at hand. So our next question, this is back. We've only got 4 more of these basketball questions because free agency is this weekend. And because it's 4th of July weekend, I will respect that. Otherwise, we would have a free agency special at midnight. Nah, I wouldn't do that. In the morning.
You done lost your duck cotton picking mine. I'm still trying to watch the All-Star game and stuff and keep going.
Right. But we're going to do this. Okay, so I kind of answered this question already, so I'll probably stay quiet for this and let Matt and Amina go. But does Chris Paul's move to the Rockets make the Rockets the second best team in the West? Go ahead, Amina.
Like you said, when you was originally talking about it tonight, some minutes ago, I think you said they look good on paper or something. Well, I think you did, or it was about something else. But anyway, they look good on paper with like any team that hasn't been formed with a chemistry. It's a great move, great business wise, money wise, publicity wise, all that. But outside of that, they haven't played a game together. It's not even preseason yet, so we can't even really tell to judge how they all mesh together until halfway through the season. But I believe it's a great. I believe it's a great. I believe it's a great move. I believe it'll really help Houston out. Great decision that the Clippers made to just let him go do his thing. Um, but yeah, I have to see them play like games, like game after game, just to see their playing style together. Because he is new on the team, so we don't know yet. So we'll see.
You're telling me the fact that this will make the Houston Rockets number 2 in the Western Conference.
No, I don't believe they'll be number two. I believe they'll be either 3 or 4. I
I'll
believe
give you, I'll give you 3 because number
3 or
1,
4.
you still have to deal with. We all know about Golden State. We all don't know about that.
And
But
Kawhi
you got
Leonard is coming back healthy for the Spurs. So.
number 2. So Houston's can be solidified as a number 3.
Mhm.
Solidified. You can have that, but
Mhm.
after that, fill in the blank if you will. Yep, fill in the blank if you will. I mean, but nah, I mean, come on. To go out on like, yeah, they're a better team right now. Of course, they could be a better team right now. Of course, they look good. Of course, they look sexy on paper right now. Of course, they do. But hello, you have to beat pretty much the system that is Greg Popovich. You have to beat the champ. You have to beat
Yeah, yeah, about that.
oh, hush your face. Look, the, the, the fact of the matter, the point is, they could be one of the top 3 teams in top 3 teams in the West as of now, but yet the free agent period has literally just begun. So therefore, hold your horses. Let's not make say okay who's the best right now. We ain't on that route yet because literally in the sense it has begun. The gate is open. The horses are out on the track, and the race is on. So for anyone to say, well, we're the best team, the number 3 team in the West right now. Hold on, not so fast. Remember, Paul George is still in play, and others. So I know a lot of y'all NBA fans do your early speculations like it do in the NFL. The only difference in the NFL is a lot more. It's a 16-game sprint. This is an 82-game marathon. Okay, so hold your horses, sit tight, re-freaking relax, and just let the thing just play itself out. I mean, y'all talk about Cleveland, Cleveland, Cleveland. I don't give a rat's behind about Cleveland. I don't care about Cleveland. Look, that one was close and faster than 45's presidency. Okay, the, the point is simply this: they're number 3 right now, but that could change at any time.
I just put it like this: the Rockets are trying to recruit Paul George. Now, how successful they'll be is anybody's guess. But right now, to me, I agree with Amina and Matt when they said they're the third best team. I really do feel that to be a top 2 team in the West, you're going to have to do more because right now that one player difference. I don't think Chris Paul will help them beat the Spurs, nor will it help them beat Golden State. But that's still yet to be seen. We have a lot of free agency left to go. It hasn't even started yet. So we'll see. We'll see who gets Gordon Hayward and who gets Paul George, since those are the two marquee free agents. And unless Golden State pulls off a miracle or somehow gets Blake Griffin, I doubt Golden State's going to do anything bananas again this offseason, but you never know.
We just got a firepower with Jordan Bell.
So you never know. And Jordan Bell, yes, that's the guy from Oregon. Yep, They do have that player. We'll see. But right now, no, they're not the second best team. They are the third best team. I'd say that. I don't know if I'd say fourth, because I don't know who I would put over them. I mean, I know the Clippers were fourth last year, so we know that definitely the Clippers ain't that good. Maybe the Trailblazers will make it into the top 5, but I doubt it. So
they got swept in the playoffs.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. So the next question is: the Rockets GM said that there is an arms race in the NBA. Do you guys agree? Is there an arms race in the NBA? I'll start. No, I don't think there's an arms. Let me just say this: yes, there is an arms race in the NBA. I know I just flip flop, but no, I've always wanted to say yes. Yes. Now I've said on this podcast before that right now the NBA is in a 2-team era. Right? It's back to the Celtics and the Lakers again. Not saying any of those two dominant teams are as good as those Celtics and Lakers teams, but we are in a 2-team league now where we have 2 dominant teams, and then there's everybody else. So that would be the Warriors and the Cavaliers, even though I don't really consider the Cavaliers a dominant team, but the fact still remains they dominate the East and the Warriors dominate the West right now. So you're in a 2-team league, so you have to do what you have to do. And the Rockets, to their credit, as Matt said about the Warriors last year, they're doing what they had to do. They picked up the biggest piece in the free agent market, what they needed. They needed a point guard. Patrick Beverley was a great defender, but offensively, he was as weak as Tony Allen. So they went out and they got their offensive playmaker in Chris Paul to be the second option next to James Harden, and we're yet to see how that works because, as some commentators have pointed out, there's only one ball, but I definitely think that Chris Paul and James Harden will share the ball well. I think James Harden will succeed point guard duties to Chris Paul because it's Chris Paul, and James Harden wants to rest. He doesn't want to play 40-plus minutes again. That's one thing James Harden, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook all have in common. They all didn't get rest in the regular season or in the postseason. So, I think that James Harden will welcome having Chris Paul. I definitely think that it is an arms race in the NBA, and so you have to do what you have to do. You see that, what's the other team? There's a team in the East. There's other teams in the East loading up. Miami's about to get, they said they're heavily, most people believe that Miami will get Blake Griffin. I was about to say Blake Griffin, and they might get Gordon Hayward. So Miami's rising up. It's an arms race, man. It's what you got to do, man. It's what you got to get 2 to 3 players to make it to the playoffs now. And if you don't have 2 to 3 players, you're not going to do anything in the playoffs. Just ask the Warriors, ask the Cavaliers, ask the Heat, ask the Spurs. You need 2 to 3 I won't even say superstars. You need 2 superstars and 1 or 2 really great players, because really in Golden State it's a big 4 because it's really a big 5 for real, because they have Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. It's really a big 5, but we call it the big 3 for some reason, because it's Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. Well, who's the third? Draymond Green. So you have all that, but it really is the big. It really is the big 5 for real. So Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is the big 3 because he's Splash Brother. Right. But it really is. I'm a little bit tired if y'all can't tell. It really is a big 5 at Golden State. And that model, the Golden State model, is what most people are trying to get together. But that only works in Golden State and San Antonio because they preach sharing the ball. They don't play iso ball. And the one problem Houston will have is they have two iso ball players in their system. But if anybody can make it work, it's Mike D'Antoni. But yes, we are in the arms race. Getting back to the question, we are in the arms race, and teams need to ante up if they want to beat the Warriors, Spurs, and Cavaliers and get a title. They're gonna have to ante up. Go ahead, Matt.
One song by Fall Out Boy I'm reminded of, and I think it's pretty indicative of what's going on right now. This scene is a damned arms race. Look, you can call it an arms race if you like. You can call it for. If you think about it, the offseason of the National Basketball Association has evolved into this. You need, and I agree, two, if not at bare minimum, two players to get you in, if not three. We have seen this over the years in basketball, in the history, not just in the 2000s and the 90s and the 80s. We've seen this over decades. This is nothing new. You need at least two players to get you pretty much over the hump. Nowadays, it's three. I'm not going to go as far as say it's an arms race. It's the way that the NBA's been doing business for years. It's nothing new. It's nothing too. I was excited. It's nothing new. This has been going on for a while. Teams are always going to be at least two or three players away from going to places they need to go. This is nothing new. So to say it's an arms race, it's always going to be. It's old free agency has always been an arms race. Even when the draft was an arms race. But the only difference is there's for the long term, he had a reserve cost to deal with. Free agency and the way it has evolved over the years. It has become an arms race. And teams who are willing to shell out the money due to their salary cap and what they can afford in set salary cap can make or break a team. They make a team or set a franchise back years. So to say it's an arms race, it's an understatement. It's a big understatement, in my view. It's the way of doing business. It ain't nothing personal. It's business. Doesn't matter what team you are. You can afford to keep a player and get you to where you got to go and construct your team the way you need to be constructed and have the right personnel to put your franchise in the situation you need to be, then you should be fine. Until then, if you're not careful, you will be set back some years. Race, nah, let's call it business. We've been doing this for a long time. It ain't nothing new. It's just the fact that Miami, Cleveland, and Boston and those teams that found ways to exploit it. Nothing new. This is nothing new. Nothing new at all.
Amina.
Yeah, I feel as though that the teams it is a race, so to speak. Especially in the West, it's a race. I mean, my team has been dominating the West going on now for 4 years. So for anyone to try to snatch that from us, It's gonna take something better than Kevin Durant, so to speak, and you can't get no better than him. It is arms race, like I said. I mean, it's only two teams that's relevant in the West at this point. The East only got the Cavs, and they lost, so it's like.
Lies and alibis. Lies and alibis.
But anyway, it's a race to the top, but people know that they won't make it to the top. But people are trying to form super teams now because they realize that's what works now. They're finally getting the message that my team realized a while ago.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. I gotta stop you there. And I got on Colin's case about using that term super team. Okay, number one, the Golden State Warriors is not a super team.
I didn't
That
call
team
my
is
team super team. I said that they're trying to build ones. I
building
know
the
my
super
team.
team is building a super team is a violation in my opinion.
We
Bottom
we
line,
got we got the good people from drafts and trades. That's how that happened. That's how
in the
that.
free agent market too. But
Right.
still, to sit here and say, okay, everybody else, like, look, you have to understand, as a Golden State Warrior fan, now the target is on your back. The goal is to knock you off the pedestal, to knock you off the mountain.
Nah. Mm-mm.
You think
Fourth
about,
year, fourth year in a row. We going.
but think about this. You were last year. Golden State was knocked off his pedestal by Cleveland. What did you do? Of course, you went up and reloaded the gun. You got Kevin Durant, and look at me now. Look at you now. Okay, you are back on top. So Cleveland's doing what they can to arm back up. You
They
got
don't know what they doing. They ain't even got no general manager.
the hell. But the point is, they got to arm up. You have not Golden State. What's it? San Antonio, who lost to Golden State because, well, injuries. That happens. So it's going to be it's an arms. That's like I was saying. Look at from a business end. This is a new way of doing business. But the arms race side of things, basically, like, you know what? Golden State is the rule of the roost right now, and we have to find a way to retool, reshape, whatever it is that we need to do to knock them off the pedestal, knock them off the mountain. You have 29 other franchises that's trying to do the same damn thing, including the Philadelphia 76ers, even though they're far from it. But you know full and darn well they're trying to build for long-term success and long-term successful longevity. That's the goal. The goal is to win everything. You have 30 franchises that's trying to do the same, trying to win one trophy. And unfortunately for you, my dear, Golden State owns the trophy right now. They are the rule of the roost. So all 29. So all 29 teams are gunning for you. That's why they're arming up right now, reloading their gun, doing whatever it is they got to do to reshape their franchises to knock off the champs. All four sports do it. It is what it is. It is always going to be an arms race, right? Look, I know for a fact everybody's trying to knock off the Penguins in hockey because they own the cup right now. Everybody's going to try to knock off New England because, frankly, it's New England and they cheat, right? And in baseball, it's
Brady.
oh, hush your face. And as of right now, everybody's trying to come after what the Cubs came after 108 years of futility. They finally got their title, and they're on the verge of losing it. So it's going to be an arms race, no matter how you slice it. But as far as the arms race is concerned, it's knocking off Golden State.
Nah.
All right. Well, I'll just shut it down like this. It is an arms race. It is what it is. This is where we are now in the NBA. I'll close it out the way I started it. It's a 2-team league. The other teams need to ante up, and the Rockets are doing it. Paul George, the next big domino that falls, Paul George, then it'll be Blake Griffin. So just get ready. Free agency is getting ready to start. We're going in the show talking about who we think are going to be the big free agent splashes and where they're going. But this is what it is. It is, as Matt said, it is the cost of doing business. You pay the cost to be the boss. And Golden State right now, they got Kevin Durant. They're reaping the benefits. They got their rings. The Lakers are trying to get Paul George and Russell Westbrook the next few years. We'll see what happens with that. But it is what it is at this point. So, moving right along. So, our home state, the great state of Pennsylvania, has passed some new guns in the school law. Yes, I know
That hurt.
some of y'all listening to this podcast didn't even know that in Pennsylvania, you're in some parts of Pennsylvania. I'm not sure in Philadelphia, but I doubt they're letting any teacher or anybody that works in the school bring a gun in Philadelphia. So, in some parts of the state, they're letting people bring guns. If you work in the school, they're letting you bring a gun. So, into the schools. So, Matt, Amina, I don't know which one of y'all want to start first. We'll start with the woman. Go ahead, Amina. Take off on that new rule. What you think?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. What is an amendment that people have the right to carry, but not everyone, not every student and every school's parent agrees with that. And I feel as though parents should have a say so in what goes on with their children. Me personally, I've been telling people to get your children from out of these public schools because it's about to get worse than it's already bad. I mean, so many people I know are homeschooling their children now because they're just fed up with how the schools are. But it's getting to that point that school is no longer in a learning environment. It's survival of the fittest. It's the prison pipeline, and people are just ready for battle. Like you got armed guards walking around schools with handcuffs and Glocks, and now you got teachers and administration that can walk around armed. So it's like people are you willing to send your child to a place like that? Willing to sacrifice their mental state? I mean, to have a teacher standing in front of their class with a gun on their hip. I mean, come on, are you a teacher or you're a Texas Ranger? So parents are going to have to make choices about their children's education, which you're not supposed to throw away because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. So parents are just going to have to make the sacrifice. I mean, they either want their children in schools where this is being allowed or they're not. And they're going to homeschool them because this is ridiculous. School year is coming, the new school year, 2017-2018 school year. And as usual with every school year, there's school shootings. Some are fake, some are real, but I guess people are getting to the point where it's predictable. So now they're trying to ward it off or stop it in its tracks before it even becomes another casualty. So I find it to be strange. I mean, I just found out about it earlier this week, and I was like, wow, like, really? And we don't have that many problems going on in Pennsylvania as far as schools. Like, I noticed, like, we have our little issues, but we don't have any problems that go national in Pennsylvania schools. So I don't understand what's the issue for this. Like, I don't.
As a proponent, as someone who is for public schools, let me break this down. Let me break it down in my view. First of all, this is an institution of learning. If you let me back up. The school system has been set to fail for the past 40 years. So and the way now schools are being operated, it's pretty much a pipeline to the prison system. charter schools in particular. Yeah, I'm coming at the system too because the charter school system has helped decay the public school system faster, stripping it its resources, stripping it every which way. To say, hey, you know what, you can have guns in school. It's the worst thing you can do. Because you know what, you're telling youth that it's okay to arm up, because of your whatevers. School has no longer become a safe place to be, unfortunately, but to bring guns in makes it a whole lot worse. No one knows how to problem solve anymore these days. Even though they teach it, they sure as hell don't know how to practice it. A lot of teachers in the school system just aren't good teachers at all. You got some that think they're great teachers, but but not so much. Now that's why now you see most people going to cyber charter schools and the like.
And teachers are having sex with their elementary and middle school students now. It's not even high school students anymore.
You're right. You're right.
They're screwing your kindergarten. Your 5 and 6-year-olds are getting raped and sodomized by the teachers. I'm telling y'all, parents, that now. Check your children's bodies, their clothes. It's crazy out here.
By the way, they're mandated reporters. Mandated. It makes no sense. But the bottom line is this: you already have excuse my French, Colin, because this is on the passion side. You have a ton of problems. Lack of parental involvement and volunteerism. The community does not have a clue on how to support the system. You have these for-profit companies coming in, running said school, and by the way, taking the money and run. Now, if you haven't had, for those you have not seen it, go on YouTube and look up John Oliver's piece on charter schools. I mean, that's another topic within itself. And then you have this Secretary of Education, quote unquote secretary, is making a fool of herself. And it's embarrassing. Bottom line, it is bona fide embarrassing. It is not right. It is not the best course of action. If a teacher or a faculty has to bring a gun to a school, then something is terribly wrong. Terribly wrong. I mean, I can go on and on and on about it, but I'm gonna keep it short here. It is the worst thing you can do. It is a terrible thing you can do. Yes, this state is gun happy, very gun happy, particularly when you go outside the 5-county area. This place is gun happy. So school.
Oh, Matt, just call it what it is. Call it Pennsyltucky. You know we call it that. Call it Pennsyltucky.
And me and Kyla support charter schools because we both graduated from the same charter high school.
Unfortunately.
No, that was a great school, wasn't it, Kyla? Yes, it was.
It was a good school.
We got educated in our charter school. Really, it was rigorous.
What school is this?
Multicultural Academy Charter School.
But we all were in the school district at the time where charter schools were just they weren't as prominent as they are now. So let's be fair.
Take that into account.
Me and Kyla are high school graduates of a charter school, so we're different.
Yeah. So I mean, go ahead, man. Finish your thought.
But either way, it's simply this: it's eroded because of course they took over the school system in 01. I mean, actually 02. That's when I graduated high school. Oh God, 15 years ago. The state runs the system. And by having these for-profit schools, and that's what they really are. Charter schools are for-profit schools. To take public buildings and turn them into their building. They can do this. It is a disservice to the community. It's a disservice to the people that they serve, which is pretty much the parents of the parents of the children that goes to their school. It's a disservice and particularly in Philadelphia, there should be a numerical cap on charter schools. There's one too many of them. There should be a cap, but that's another story. But there should not be. But there's two. Look, outside of Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Harrisburg, you say Scranton, Erie. This place is what the state is. Pennsylvania, or the Sylvania part, Penwoods. This is nothing but. I gotta put this. And you're right, Pennsylvania. So, you can bring guns into a school system. It is the worst thing you can do. It is not showing responsibility. It's not showing good mentoring skills. It's not showing good problem-solving skills. All the way around.
Yes, I mean first off, let's be clear with this, right? When Amina and I, we are charter school graduates, but I was '08, she's 2010. So, but in all those, 20. I thought you were 2010.
2011.
Oh, well, 2011. 3 years later. But in all that, those years, '08, '09, 2010, 2011. Charter schools were not as prominent as they are now, especially in Philadelphia. They're particularly prominent in really big cities. But to the point of, before I go there, to the point of the law, right? Now, let's just be honest, right? Now, most people don't know this, but in this city, in Philadelphia, and most cities, they have these laws. And I think there is a law in Philadelphia where you can't have a gun. Amazingly, there's two laws in Philadelphia that most people don't know about. One is you can't hunt any animal within city limits. So for those of you that like to go squirrel and deer hunting, you can't do it in Philadelphia within city limits, right? And then the other law is, even though it's not one that they really enforce, and I know Matt and Amina will laugh at this one, but there is a law that talks about guns and where you can have guns, and one of the places that you cannot have guns within city limits is the schools in Philly, unless you're a cop or somebody allowed to have that. And that's why a lot of people say, the one thing that they will say about Philadelphia is that we don't have an illegal, I mean, we do have it sort of now, but we don't have illegal gun problems because guns are not like, in Philadelphia, guns are heavily regulated, especially within city limits. But to the point of this, right? This was passed by Senate Republicans in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. But this doesn't really affect Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Allentown, Erie, all the places run by Democrats where guns are heavily regulated. This will not affect us because, as I just said and laid out, in Philadelphia at least, because I don't live in all those other places, they don't let guns in school. Right? That's why in Philadelphia, if you ever noticed, I think we had one incident, I think it was at King High School too, where they had a gun in the school, somebody had a gun in their locker, and they just completely shut the school down. Cops were there immediately, and they got the gun like immediately out the school. But to the point of this law, right, and one of the problems, as somebody who works in the schools, and is I'm a product of the holy trinity of schools. I'm a product of public, private, and charter. So I'm a product of all three. So, but I work in a school now, K through 8, and I'm colored by this, right? Now, what we all have to realize when laws like this pass and laws that say that teachers can rough up kids, not saying that is right, not saying that is right at all. It's not right at all. But the times that we're living in, we live. I know Matt, Amina, and I, we probably hear it once every time when we have the unfortunate thing of writing SEPTA and we're around a lot of y'all's kids. Where unfortunately we're in the world star hip hop, Snapchat, YouTube, and Twitter generation where people take fights and people do stuff where they have the knockout game now, which is popular for those who don't know what the knockout game is. Not really popular up here in Philadelphia, but it's a very big thing because I lived in D.C., so I know D.C. and Maryland is a very popular thing in the DMV, which is find somebody weak, you knock them out, you put it on social media, and everything else. So we live in a generation where these kids do everything through social media. They live stream their fights. They live stream. I think we've had instances not in this city, but in big cities where we've had kids live stream rapes and everything else. So we're in a generation where we have a generation of kids that don't care. Now that is, if I'm putting the blame on 50-50, 50% parenting, 50% society devaluing these kids. And, this, and so when you have a law like this is what colors that law. You got to understand that when most of these people make these laws and they represent places in the middle of nowhere and places all around, they're coming from places and they're representing places where the only interaction these people have with African Americans with diversity in any way is their television. And when you look at people's television, they're saying, "Oh, we have 5 teenagers in Chicago rape a girl and put it on Facebook," or they're talking about the latest gun violence or a gun found in a school shooting, stuff like that. And to Amina's point, we haven't had that in Pennsylvania, thank God, by the grace of God, right? So, but the stuff is this, right? And they said this in the article I read about it. A gun is not going to change. They brought the Democrats in Pennsylvania State House, brought in some Sandy Hook people who survived Sandy Hook. Now, whether you're a conspiracy theorist or not, and you believe that's real or fake, that's your problem, not mine. I personally believe that it was a real school shooting. So, they have these people come in. They said, because they were in the situation, you don't know. People that have guns, it's not like being in a movie. When you're in an area where there is a live shooter, you're not going to act rationally, right? So you're going to act within your own preservation, especially if you have kids. That's why a lot of these teachers die during these school shootings, even Columbine. They're protecting their students. And whether you have a gun or not, you're not going to stop a crazy person because most likely you don't have a semi-automatic weapon. We have to realize that most of these people that shoot up schools, it's not like they're coming in with the slowest gun ever. They're coming in with semi-automatic weapons, militaristic weapons, right? They're not coming in with the Glock that your local drug dealer has. They're not doing that, right? And most likely, if you have a gun, they're not going to let you bring an automatic rifle to a school. You're going to have a slow Glock where you're going to have to be the most accurate shooter ever in order to do anything to save anybody. Like, my thing is this. I hear a lot of people criticize schools for being gun-free zones. And I keep telling people this, right? Listen, guns should not be allowed in school unless you are a police officer, unless you are an officer of the law. If you are not an officer of the law, you should not have a gun in a school environment. Now, does that mean that every school should have a police presence? Within reason. But there are things that, and this law is stupid. I really do. There was a couple of laws. There were 2 laws that I could have made a topic on, and maybe next week we'll talk about the one that they're sneaking in there before the 4th of July, which says that in Pennsylvania you can't request camera footage from cops after 60 days after the incident. That one is by a 28-year-old senator that's from the Northeast in Philadelphia. That one we'll get to next week. But there is just this. I don't understand the stupidity around school shootings where people think that when they're in a live shooting situation, they all of a sudden become Rambo and just start shooting and saving everybody. That does not happen. Laws like this are stupid, and they only serve to make our schools a target. That's what they do. That's what they do. Amina and Matt, if y'all have anything to add, and then we'll move on to our last 2 topics.
You know what? If we're talk about this thing right now, it's gonna go into 2 in the morning, so you need.
All right. Well, all right, we're going to Amina's favorite topic. We always got to put one of these in here for her. So, will Paul George be a difference maker for the Cavs, Lakers, or Celtics? Go ahead, Amina. I know you're just dying to talk about the Cavs, so go ahead.
Either the Cavs or Lakers, definitely. Them Cavs, they don't know what they're doing. They don't have a general manager. Their summer league roster is flat. They got absolutely no one as a result of the NBA draft. They just coming off of a loss. They need all the help they can get. Lakers, they haven't been relevant in almost 10 years. They need all the help they can get. They are in a rebuild phase to bring the team back to be worth something to talk about at the table. So I can see him being an asset to either the Lakers or the Cavs.
All right, all you, Matt.
Look, I don't give a rat's. Why are we talking about Cleveland? Why are we talking about Cleveland? We've been through that. I don't care about Cleveland. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, okay, we're gonna load the gun and probably get Paul George. What's the man's name? But Paul George. Look, honestly, I don't give a rat's ass about Cleveland. Honestly, I really don't, because I'm looking for someone to knock off Cleveland. That's it. I think. I mean, I got too many stupid, fraudulent Cleveland fans that pretty much been there since the days of LeBron's rookie year. I can tell. I'll have to ask them. Do you know who do you know who Craig Elo is or Sean Kempman? I'm probably gonna know. Yeah, I don't look. The bottom line is simply this. Honestly, I don't care. Just don't care. But as far as I'm concerned, that franchise looks good on the outside, but scrappy on the inside. So have at it.
Well, I'll take it. I think that Paul George, the team that makes the most sense for him, is not to go to the Cavs. He's going to end up in the Lakers in 2018 anyway. So that's why I don't think the Lakers should try hard for him. But I think the team that makes the most sense of the teams that I mentioned are the Celtics. Why? Because the Celtics need a scorer. They need somebody other than Isaiah Thomas, right? And Paul George can go and become the immediate difference maker in the star, and he can do something that he hasn't done. He hasn't had since the early days of Indiana when he had Roy Hibbert and George Hill, right? He can go to the Celtics, right? Whether it's via trade or whatever, and play with Isaiah Thomas, a big-time point guard who will get him the ball and a second option, and he'll be able to do something. He'll be able to have a good chance at different things. Let me tell y'all, like, what happens is this, right? They'll have if he goes to the Celtics, right? They're immediately now they were already number one seed, so they're the best team in the East, right? I know they lost to Cleveland, but they were a higher seed, and they're the second best team in the East, right? But they get Paul George, even if it's just for 1 year, they'll become the best team. Well, they'll be an immediate challenger to Cleveland, right? Now, it won't be enough to beat Golden State, but they'll be an immediate challenger to Cleveland. And Matt just said it. That's all we want. I want somebody to challenge Cleveland. So for competition's sake, I want Paul George to go to the Celtics, even if it's just for 1 year, just to see that Celtics versus Cavaliers matchup and see if Paul George can be the difference. And since he said he doesn't want to form a super team, then go to the Celtics for a year. Go get around that tradition and pageantry. I know as a Sixers fan, I shouldn't really be rooting for the Celtics, but since the 76ers are not going to be in that sweepstakes unless they do something drastic, and I hope they do get in that sweepstakes, but I doubt it. Paul George needs to just come home or go to the Celtics and then do whatever he wants for the Lakers, because like I said, I've arrived at the fact that the 76ers are going to be a 7th or 8th seed. And I know they won't be challenging Boston in the Atlantic Conference. So I'm comfortable in that. If they do challenge them, I'll be happy, but I'm comfortable in the fact that, you know, that the 76ers will be a 7th or 8th seed. So I want to, since Boston is the closest team to beat in Cleveland, I want them to get Paul George and see them challenge. I know Matt's going to be like, you can't be rooting for Boston. They win too much, all that stuff. But, you know, I want to see Paul George with the Celtics for 1 year because I think that'd be good for him. And maybe he'll stay in the East and not run to the West like everybody else next year. But we'll see. And so I think for competition and difference maker's sake, he needs to go to the Celtics because he can immediately challenge the Cavaliers and do what he's been trying to do for his whole career. Dethrone LeBron James. And how perfect would that be to go to the Celtics just to dethrone LeBron for a year? I would think that would be so great. And I think that's what he should do. Right? Right? I think that'd be great. All right, y'all. Now we're on to the point, like I said, free agency starts on Saturday, July 1st at midnight. So that is when midnight on July 1st. That is when free agency starts. So we'll go down the line. So guys, what do you think will be the big splash made during free agency this summer? Go ahead, Amina.
In terms of what, like
basketball, who's gonna get so the big free agents are Paul George, Blake Griffin, Gordon Hayward, who's gonna get Andre Iguodala, so who's gonna make the big splash? We're talking about the Warriors if you want, but they're gonna re-sign Curry, Durant, and Iguodala. Go ahead. This is your opinion. What's your big free agent? Who you think that is?
Paul George, I can see it's going to be a hot topic. I mean, people I know are still talking about Chris Paul because it just happened, but when Paul George goes somewhere, they'll be definitely talked about. Andre, on the other hand, he's fighting to stay with the team because we don't want our team to be separated. Where my team, on the other hand, they're all willing to take smaller paychecks just to keep the team together. Like, that's how much dedication they have. So I can see Andre staying with us. And who else did you name? You said Paul George, Andre. Who else?
Gordon Hayward.
Oh, yeah. I think you said he might be going to Miami. I can see that. He might be. I think I can see that to help build Miami back up, get them going in the run, help them. Hopefully, if he goes there, that maybe he'll help them get to the playoffs. Maybe, I don't know. But with the predictions where everyone is going, I can see it happening.
I'll be honest with you. Between the months of now and October, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen who's really out there. I don't know what team wants what, who needs what, because I'm too busy worrying about a pennant race. Okay, so I got nothing for you. Watching the All-Star game and watching the second half of baseball season. So, sorry, but not sorry.
All right. Well, the guys with the Phillies logo as his profile pic is too busy watching baseball during the summer. One shot.
My profile picture is sexy.
One shot. But what will be the big splash? And he knows I'm playing with. What will be the big splash made during free agency, right? So here's what I think, right? Blake Griffin, it's over for the Clippers. Blake Griffin will be a Miami Heat. So he'll end up in Miami at the Miami Heat. I think Gordon Hayward goes to Boston. And this is what I think will happen. Gordon Hayward will become a Celtic. So will Paul George. Paul George will end up a Celtic. So that's the two big moves I can see. So wherever it ends up, whether it be in Miami or in Boston, there will be a new big two or new big three in Boston or Miami. This is what I think, right? The new big there'll be a new big three in Boston because there'll be Isaiah Thomas, Paul George, and Gordon Hayward, and there will be a big two in Miami with Blake Griffin and Hassan Whiteside in Miami, and like I said, Paul George ends up in Boston for a year, maybe more, and that's the big one. Andre Iguodala, I want to say the homer in me says he'll be a 76er, but I doubt it. I think he likes being in California too much. So I think he'll stay in Golden State. Stephen Curry will sign like a 5-year, don't get me to lie, 5-year, $100+ million contract for the Golden State Warriors. Then Kevin Durant will resign and everything. The only thing that'll be different is there will be a new third team in the East because Miami will be. They probably won't be a top. I'm not saying they're going to be a top 4 team, but they'll be in the 5th or 4th place and be one of the top 3 teams in the East once they get Blake Griffin and they have Hassan Whiteside, and then they'll already have Gordon Dragic. So I think that they will have a big offseason. I think the free agents will be great for Miami and Boston. And Golden State will keep their team. I know. Golden State will keep their team together, but I really do think the two big splashes will be Blake Griffin in Miami, and then another big 3 in Boston with Isaiah Thomas, Paul George, and Gordon Hayward. I could also see Gordon Hayward going to Miami, but either way, there will be a big 3 in Miami or Boston. It'll either be Gordon Hayward, Isaiah Thomas, and Paul George, or Gordon Hayward, Blake Griffin, and Hassan Whiteside in Miami. Take it to the bank. And that's the show, man. Thank you guys for listening. Once again, I want to thank Matt and Amina for rocking out with me on a Thursday at 9 o'clock. Like I said, this is not going to be our regular time. We'll see about next week, because next week that Spider-Man Homecoming drops. We'll see what day we'll have the podcast. But most likely it should be on a Friday at 9. Might be Thursday at 9. We'll see. We'll see how we're feeling. But I like this. I like these conversations. I know Amina and Matt had fun. Like I said, Trey couldn't make it. CT3 is on his way to Florida, Lord willing, tomorrow. So wish him safe traveling mercies and safe journeys. He'll probably be back, probably not this upcoming week, but the following week. But it's great, man. It's great to be together and get the people together, get the family together. Like we said, we're all one big family. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your 4th of July holiday and everything. Just be safe. Safe travels.
Have a great weekend.